Update us on China. There's not a day doesn't go by when we don't say, the way the president said China. But update on your call on have we replaced security concerns with economic concerns? Is that the right thing to do? Do you have long-term worries as an American about China?
Well, I do. I mean, listen, I always, it's what keeps my position from being too large because of worried about different things that can be there. On the other hand, look, you do have the same AI drivers there. You've had some movement in that market because people are realizing you have the same sort of things with AI there. And, you know, some of the stocks like Baba and I guess Baidu yesterday, you know, with you're also making chips now, and they've been pushing it, so they're doing it, right? And not, you know, maybe they're like the H20 Nvidia chip or something like that, you know, that quality. So, I mean, I think the move has been good, and the earnings, unlike here, are still relatively low. I mean, you're talking, you know, low teens versus where we are. So it's like that. So I understand, you know, it's not like it was. It was ridiculous when, you know, last year. It was single digits. So you're not at single digits now, but you're not, given what the growth rate is and the multiples, you're still at relatively interesting levels, if you didn't have those other concerns, certainly. So, yeah, I think that pretty much
have you been holding Nvidia all the way?
I haven't held it all the way. I do own Nvidia, but I go back and forth a little bit because I do, you know, I will trade a little bit. We've always had some Nvidia position, but not the same size. So, anyways,
the market seems to want to look for the next highly torqued play to the same trends, right? I mean, you had Broadcom gets its run, Oracle gets its run. Is there enough to go around, do you think, for everybody that's now?
Look, if you, like I said before, if you didn't believe you had the other China issues you had, now that the Chinese can do whatever they want with their own stock market, but that would be the one that you already had a big move there, okay? But, you know, on an earnings basis, which you referred to before, you can make an argument that you still have a lot more there. But it's not easy it's easy for a small investment. It's not big to have too much of your book there because of the concerns you raised.
Are you boning up on AI? Is that going to be part of your investment thesis in the future?
Well, we have a big.
Is there
AI
any way
book.
not to be?
No, I mean, if you look at our 13F filings, I mean, we're big in the energy names there. We're pretty early there. You know, we do own Nvidia. We own some of the other.
Why do we have to look in your filings?
Stuff.
Can't you just tell us?
What's that?
Why do we have to look into your 13F filings? Can't you just tell us? Is it going to kill you?
Well, I can tell you what's in the 13F filings.
Why can't you just tell us what's there instead of what's in the
I can. I mean, we own the energy names. Like I'm not saying they're good right now or bad right now, but we own VSD and NRG.
What is good right now?
It's a tough market, like I said, because of the valuations for us. You know, on the other hand, we own these stocks because they're moving, because of the Fed. And you lived. How old are you?
I lived it.
You lived it in the late 90s,
yeah. I'm just about 50.
He didn't see Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, he didn't see Neil Armstrong. He did not see Neil Armstrong. So, you know, we do have those stocks, and we do, you know, obviously we're well known for being in China, and that's, if you really were, look, our easing is a big deal for them because it gives them more room to ease. So that would be the other reason. Our easing is their easing. So that makes it pretty interesting from that perspective. So, but you have moved a lot there. But you could make the argument that if you were going to look at one thing that's classically cheap.
Sure.
But there's a lot of hair at there. You know, as it goes up from 8 times to 13 times, it becomes harder.
And at some point, I mean, we've had these cycles in the past where all of a sudden the word goes out, we don't like people getting too rich, you know, domestic investors. And
well, that's the problem there, right? So there's a little bit of a different sort of issue there. So there's nothing. Look, we're having a really good year, and I'm so miserable for having a really good year because I still own the market, and I can't stand that I own the market. You understand what I'm saying? I don't love the multiples, but how do I not own it with an easy, you know, I'm not ever fighting this Fed, especially when the market's telling me I don't know what it is today, but 1 3/4 more cuts, you know, before the end of the year. So that's a tough thing not to own. But you are at these, you pointed out the average.
Well, and when people go down the list of, you know, reasons that this kind of valuation gets supported, one of the things they'll say is credit spreads are incredibly tight, right? In other words, there's no macro signal that you should be worried about there. But on the other hand, that means there's not a lot of cushion, I imagine, in credit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm an old credit guy.
Know,
but, I mean, they're very tight, and there's there's the private credit right now that probably results in that. You know, I don't own it.
Right.
I can't own it. I can own I own the market a little bit. Listen, if I don't know, we had a big run because we have that savings because of COVID savings. If you want to make a bull case on China, their excess savings are still humongous because they haven't spent it, they haven't invested it. I mean, they're huge. I mean, we looked at the other day, I don't know if it's true or not, like $7 trillion of excess saving versus their normal trend over there. So this is, on the other hand, again, the market's moved so much. You know what, I have nothing, I can't just say I have anything, there's no other side to an investment right now. I can tell you why it may be cheap, but look where it went. Or in the other case, look where we are. And then on the other hand, how do you not stay around for some of this party? I don't have to be as big, but you got to stay for some of the party because the punch bowl is still there. They haven't taken it away yet, but when they take it away, that's what gets tough for.
They don't always give much warning.
Listen, if I had a small fund, then I can flip it. You have a larger fund. It's hard to move, So that's the challenge for guys that are a little bit larger in size. How do you position? You can't be that big because you can't get out.